everyone, Lauren here. So today I'm just going to talk about my own sort of writing style. So I don't mean the actual nitty-gritty, the way the words come out, but the actual way and the process that I get through my own writing. Now that's not to say that what I do is what everyone should do. It should be something that you find yourself. But I'm just going to go through a lot of different suggestions of things that I've tried and what it is that is currently working for me at the moment and how I'm actually able to get words out on the paper. This isn't particularly a method that I've tried myself, but it's something that I've heard a lot, and I did kind of do it in a way. I have fallen into it a few times, but that is to start from your end point and work backwards to get to your start. It might seem counterintuitive, but if you know how the story is meant to end and the climax and the culmination of all the points, if you can start with that and work backwards, you can find the bits that you need to get the right sort of flow and the beats right and the right cadence for each of the writing points that you want to do. Personally, I have never done this, mainly because I'm not really much of an outliner. I normally just fly by the seat of my pants and just do whatever springs to mind. I outline so much as each chapter gets a mini outline that I will try and stick to, but even then it's not likely to happen. The only time that this is something that I've done is when I've had a scene in my head which I know relates to the story but at a much later date. Sometimes the only way to get some writing done that day is to write down the scene that you've got in your head. So I have written down a sort of, I'd say, a midpoint towards end point scene for a story I've got, just so that it was there and I don't forget about it, but it's just chucked randomly on a Word document that I need to remember about. So if you are an outliner and you already know how the story is going to end, then sometimes that might be the best place for you to start. Flesh that part out and work backwards and try and find the characters as they have to regress the story somewhat. So this is a bit more how I work, and that is by doing bullet points of what the scenes are going to entail. So instead of writing the full prose, you just do a quick snapshot of what you're expecting to see, so you can go and fill that in at a later date. So for me, my outlines are very much chapter 1, this happens, this happens, this happens, and then I'll write out the actual prose for it and try and get that to work. And then chapter 2, review chapter 1, again bullet points, right, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen. And chapter 2 I then review chapter 1 and do the same sort of thing, so bullet points of, oh, this is gonna happen now, this is gonna happen now, this is gonna happen now, and then fill in the prose. I found that for me, for some of the bigger pieces of work that I've done, it helps to keep me on track, and it also helps to sort of ground the story in my own brain. I know people say you shouldn't read through what you've done until you've written everything, and the best part is to just get everything down, just tell the story to yourself, but sometimes I feel like if you do a quick mini review, you can sometimes get the points that you need, which means when you come through to do a first sort of edit review of it, you've already got part of the plot and the characterisation is flowing without too many tweaks. And because of the work that you've already done by reviewing each chapter before you go through, it helps, for me at least, to solidify that chapter and also to solidify the story in my head. Now I don't know if that's mainly because I'm a pantser and not an outliner, but I just thought it might as well let you all know how I get on with it, and it might be something that could be useful for you as well. Personally, I just write what's in my head, but the piece that I am currently going through, so my current work in progress, is pretty much just go. However, I have actually kind of outlined this one, so I don't know the full ending, but I do have some set points that I need to hit to try and get this piece done. I thought I'd try a different tactic because I've not actually grounded down my own writing process and writing style, which may seem odd to be making this video, but it's because I am still trying to see what works best for me completely. I've tried an outline with my current work in progress, which is something I've never done. I have never worked to an outline. I don't feel like it's hindered me, so I don't feel like putting the outline together has taken away the fun and the creativity of just writing how I feel. But at the same time, I don't think it's something that has really helped me. The plans that I've put together are not technically being stuck to it as well as I would have hoped they would have been, seeing as I tried to put an outline, but it shows that maybe I'm more of an in-between person, so I need a semi designed outline to be able to pants the rest of it. So I've got some plans but not full plans. That being said, because I am more of a pantser, I do tend to follow a more linear approach to getting the story out on paper, so I will start from the beginning and finish at the end and work through the points and try and tweak them as I go along. I find that if I do get stuck, I will review the previous chapters. That's something that I always do. In the past I have just completely wiped out chapters and just got rid of them because the way that that story was going didn't work anymore, and the new chapter that I'd started, it ground to a halt and got stuck somewhere. So I am very much of the opinion that reviewing the work as you're going along can sometimes help if you do feel that you're in a bit of a pitfall, or you've found somewhere that you've kind of narrowed your characters down into this tiny little corner that they can't get out of. So to me, being able to have that freedom to review and not having an outline just let you just delete something. It just let you go, well, that's not working, get rid of that chapter, oh, that's not working, get rid of that paragraph. I do think being able to have that sort of self-awareness with your own writing does allow you to have more control over how the writing is coming across. Because I also have the downside of liking to start things that are shiny and new, I have numerous Word documents as well that have got scenes or chapters or character development or personalities that are just dotted around for different ideas that I've had over the years. Obviously it's better to work on just one story at a time, so if I do ever get to a point where something else pops into my head, I will open a new Word document or get a new notebook and write down whatever's just popped into my head so that I can get it out of there and it's on paper and I won't forget about it. And then in a year or two's time, when I've got time to review what I have collected that way, I might have got the beginnings of a few stories, or I might have got one story where I can encapsulate a few of the things that I've come across that have just been stuck in my head. This is why I say that I don't have a fully clearly defined writing process yet. I'm not at the level to have been disciplined to just focus on the one story, because I allow myself to let the characters do what they want. I allow myself to let the story progress how it needs to. Sometimes I do get these other ideas, and it is better sometimes to just get them out of the way so that you can carry on with what you want to do, rather than the thing that's flitting around in the back of your head that won't shut up. You never know, maybe that thing that is flitting around is something that you can use at a later point, which will then help you progress with something else when you've finished and when you're waiting for the piece that you have finished to sit before you do any editing on it. So personally, I am still working through my own writing style. As it stands at this moment, I have only got one piece of work that has been fully completed. I have got one manuscript that I have finalised in full, and it is only a novella. So at the moment I am trying to leave that so I can edit it fully, but I'm finding that I don't really have much of an editing style as well, so I'm trying to find the right balance that I need to do the edits from my side before it maybe needs looking at from other people. That being said, I have been writing for a numerous amount of years. I did kind of get stuck on one story, and instead of giving myself the chance to get that out, I started the novella, which I've finished, and I'm currently working on something else which is completely different from either of the two things I've done before. I've got ideas for so many things, notebooks half started with descriptions, actual chapters of beginnings. So I'm trying to give myself more of a disciplined routine with my writing so I can get stuff finished and then be able to move on to the next piece of work. I'm hoping by the end of this year I will have completed the piece that I'm working on, and also be working through one of the other pieces that I've had in the pipeline for a couple of years, just so that I've got some manuscripts to go through, and then I can practice my own editing techniques and I can get to grips with how I need to edit properly. I've found that one of my biggest downfalls with writing is that I've always had to try and fit in around work, school, university, something else that's taken up more of my time. Trying to get that time to just sit and write has been really difficult for me, and it seems that maybe I have not been giving it as much attention as I should have done. When I give myself a deadline, sort of, you've got 30 minutes to write, just get something out there, I have been doing a lot better than I thought I would. So this is what my new tactic is, and I'm hoping to have this going forward. So maybe even if I can't do writing every day, even if I can't find 20-30 minutes to get some writing done, I'll be able to do it consistently enough that the amount of words that I can get done in that 30 minutes slowly starts to build up. At the moment I'm averaging at about 500 words to 30 minutes, which I don't think is too bad, but I would like to see that improving a little bit. I know, it's quality over quantity, but if I overwrite something, it means that I can at least get the good bits of information out of there from maybe 750 words of rubbish. When trying to find your own writing style and writing process, I think it's important to know when you are most creative. So for me, if I try and write before 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so any time in the morning, I just cannot get anything down. I might put 20 words to paper, I might put 100, but I will struggle and I will just sit and stare at it, and I've found that that is the least productive way for me to do my writing. For me personally, writing after 6-7 o'clock at night, I can just whiz through words. The ideas flow better, the structure flows better, the characterization comes through, and I've now tried to push all my writing time to the end of the day. A couple of years ago, when I was trying to get my novella finished as soon as I could, because I gave myself a deadline, and I think giving myself a deadline also worked, but I found writing at 5 o'clock in the morning was also helpful. So pretty much what I've learned is I need to write at unsociable times to be at my most creative, and I don't know if that's because I just a little bit weird. But I found it's either really late at night, so if I can't sleep and it's like 11 o'clock at night and I'm wide awake, I will sometimes get up and go downstairs and bash out 400 or 500 words just so that my brain can sort of process. And so I think sometimes it's just needing to get your mind into the optimal state. So if you can find out when that is for you, then you're good to go. It's best to find when is better for you to get the words down. If you find that you can't write in the evening and you need to do it in the morning, set your alarm 20 minutes early and just do some writing in the morning. If you know it's something that you're going to be able to do, then it's worth using that time. But for me, there's just no point. Some days I woke up at 5, tried to write, and it was just gobbledygook. So I just started evening writing, and I think I will be carrying that on. I think my actual optimal times to write are like 10 o'clock at night to 2 o'clock in the morning. That sort of 4-hour window is a good window for me, but unfortunately that window is not so good when you've got to get up at 6 to get to work in the morning. I do think one of the biggest things that helps push me to get a project finished is a deadline. Even if that deadline is just something set by me, usually I don't stick to them, but giving myself a sort of goal to get it done definitely does help to get that sort of rush to get it finished, and it actually allows you to get the writing done. This is just how I've managed to process the last 10, maybe longer years, no, definitely longer years, maybe 20 years of how I've been trying to write. I'd say that although I have been wanting to write for the past 20 years, I don't think I actually fully focused on it until maybe 7 years ago, which is where I started to give myself a big push to get stuff written and to get stuff done. I started a blog, which was a way for me to practice writing and try different style of things. I was used to writing third person fantasy, which is the stuff that I'd predominantly been writing before, whereas my blog was able to give me a more informal first person style, which is actually the sort of style that my novella was written in. So my blog did actually help with my stylization for the only thing that I have completed and started editing. If any of you have been able to work out the best way for you to go through your writing process, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear it, and it might be something that I'd try out myself in the future, although if it's getting up at 4 in the morning, I'm already going to tell you that's not going to happen. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a like, and also don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you want to see any more of my videos, and there are new videos coming out every single week. See you later!